As Gandhi said, strength does not come from physical capacity. It comes from an indomitable will. We're talking about a man that took on an empire. And he did it not by his physical prowess, but instead by not being willing to be bowed or broken. And at the end of the day, that is something each one of us controls. That is something that each one of us can build into ourselves. We decide whether or not we can be broken. We decide how far we're willing to go. And at the end of the day, how far you're willing to go, how indomitable your will really is, comes down to one simple thing. Do you believe in what you're fighting for? Are the hard times something that you're willing to push through, to persevere, to get to the other side because you believe to the core of your being in what you're fighting for? And that is something we all have to define for ourselves. That is something we all have to build into the very core of our being. But most people just stumble through life. They daydream through life. They don't have a plan. They don't have something specific that they're aiming at. And because of that, when they hit an obstacle, because of that, when they hit something that pushes back against them, when they hit an equally obstinate force, they break, they bow, they crumble. Because they don't have that thing that they're willing to fight for. They don't have that burning ember inside of them that is dictating everything that they do. And because of that, they're never going to be able to get on the other side of that obstacle. Because of that, life is going to stop them. Because of that, every time that they try to create momentum in their life, something stops them. But it's not the thing on the outside that stops them. It's the lack of something on the inside. And as Winston Churchill said, if you're going through hell, keep going. But the only way that you're going to be able to persevere through that, the only reason that you're going to have that thing inside of you that demands that you keep going is if you believe in that thing. If you've built something up in your life that you'd be willing to die for and you live for it, when you construct that at the center of your soul, then you're going to have the tenacity to push through. Then you will see that you were not defined by your physical prowess. At that moment, you will understand what Gandhi was trying to say, that each and every one of us will be made by what we come to stand for. Each and every one of us will be constructed of our will. The things that we're able to do will be defined by that. So when you take the time to build something, build the strength of conviction. That is what will see you through hell. As Ralph Waldo Emerson said, shallow people believe in luck and in circumstance. Strong people believe in cause and effect. That's the simplest change that you could make in your life, to choose to believe that everything is a result of choices that you make. And it is a choice. You can choose to believe in luck. You can choose to believe that you don't have control, that you don't have agency, that the world is happening to you. Or you can choose to recognize that cause and effect exists, that if you want to get better at something, you need to put in the work, that if you want to get stronger, you need to lift heavier weights, that you can either ask for stronger shoulders to carry a bigger load, or you can ask for a lighter load. The choice is yours, but at the end of the day, if you want those strong shoulders, they're yours to build. You've got to make those choices. You've got to understand the cause and effect. You've got to understand that your life right now is the exact reflection of your choices. Your life, the good, the bad, the ugly, the hateful, the painful, the joyful, the beautiful, everything in your life is a reflection of you. It's a reflection of the things that you've decided to do. It's a reflection of the things you've decided not to do. It's the story you tell yourself about yourself, what you believe is capable. All of those things, they're the choices that you're making every day, and at any time you can choose to make a different choice. And as Bruce Lee said, if you always put limits on everything you do, physical or anything else, it will spread into your work and into your life. There are no limits. There are only plateaus, and you must not stay there. You must go beyond them. Even in the statement, you can see him making the choice about what to believe by saying that there are no limits, by taking something that other people perceive as a limit, as something that's stopping him, and saying that's not, it's a plateau, it's something that I can push through. And you see what he holds himself accountable to. It's not okay to stay at a plateau.
It's okay to have one. Everybody has them. They happen. It's a natural part of the course of getting better, but it is not okay to stay there. And that is a choice. That's not something anyone can hand you. It's something you have to believe to the core of your soul, that it is not okay to stay in a plateau. And it's that that's going to push you through. It's that that's going to make you get up and keep going. But first, you have to recognize that life is cause and effect. You have to recognize that that choice is a knock-on effect. You have to recognize that him merely saying those words out loud have a cause and effect. They change the course of his life, the expectations that other people have of him, expectations that he has of himself. And because he understands that he can control the outside world by first controlling what's inside, by changing his belief system to match what he wants to accomplish, he's then able to accomplish. What he did in his life had nothing to do with luck. It had everything to do with the demands that he made on himself. It had to do with when he got in a motorcycle accident and people told him he would never walk again. Not only did he walk again, all of the major accomplishments that we think about of being that man, they all came after. They came after he was told he was never going to walk. It came after he was told that he was never going to be able to do martial arts. But he did it. He did the grueling work of getting better. He understood cause and effect. He understood that if he chose to believe that he could never do it, that he'd never be able to do it. But that if he chose to believe that by working out he could get stronger and get better and get back to it, that he could. And that's what he did. So now ask yourself, is your life dictated by luck or cause and effect? Are you in control? Or is it somebody else? Is someone else in control? Or is it you? And if it's you, go build the life that you want, because there's nothing stopping you but you. Everyone takes the limits of their own vision for the limits of the world. Arthur Schopenhauer. There is all around you right now the reflections of your world belief. They're so ever present that you don't even see them. All the assumption that you've made about the world, the things that are possible, what you're capable of, who you are, the very definition of what it means to be alive, all of it is completely invisible. And you're mistaking what you have for what could be. And once you break free of that, once you understand that right now you're a moment in time, and that you have latent potential, and that latent potential can be expressed in the form of skills, that you can get good at things, that you can develop yourself in any direction, that brain plasticity alone is one of the greatest weapons that you're not using. But you have to move beyond what you can perceive today. You have to begin to look beyond that and see that which doesn't yet exist. And you have to remember that many of the things that are holding you down are rules that you don't even realize are rules. And as General Douglas MacArthur said, you're remembered for the rules you break. And right now, you're following rules that you don't even realize exist. And some of those rules are simply what is okay to dream. But I'm here to tell you, the power is in recognizing that you can do it. The power is in having the arrogance of belief. The power is in understanding that you, yes, you are going to be capable of something simply because you are willing to believe in yourself. And that's the thing, it's a willingness to believe in yourself. No one's gonna give it to you. Even the people that love you, they're not gonna give you that. They're incapable of giving it to you. People cannot see past their limitations, and they take them for truth. People actually believe the things that have stopped them will forever not only stop them, but they will stop other people. How can they hope to give you anything but limitation? So if you know that even the people that love you, what they're handing you is limitation with the best of fucking intentions, with all the love in the world, how are you going to break out of that? How are you going to break past those rules? How are you going to fight the anxiety that inevitably comes your way when you think about going against the grain? But my friends, until you can do that, you can never get beyond the bullshit that limits you. If people said gravity is what it is, we never would have reached escape velocity. And yet, as a species, we have been able to hurl a fucking rocket into space, get it outside of gravity, take us to other planets. That is real only because somebody said, I refuse to be held down by the most obvious rule that we have, the one that everybody says is beyond reproach, and that is gravity. But even gravity will break under the weight of a superior will. So recognize, as Epictetus said, if you want to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid. Can you be content to be thought foolish and stupid? Or do you allow yourself to be caged, to be hemmed in by what other people think? And look, I get it. I understand the sting of contempt. I understand how much it sucks when someone you respect doesn't respect you. But you cannot be anything more than their captive if you think about what they think about you. If you let yourself be defined by what other people perceive of as you, then you will forever be limited by what they give you permission to do. And I don't know about you, but when I was a kid, I said, when I'm an adult, I will never fucking be told what to do again. I will never be held back by somebody else. I will define myself. I will figure out what I need to do, and I will do it. And at the end of the day, that is it. My goals drive my behavior. I am not held back by what other people think about me, no matter how fucking intoxicating it is to be loved. You have to decide what you want more. Do you want to be you, or do you want to be someone else's reflection of you?
As Mark Twain said, the secret to getting ahead is getting started. That's something I want all of you guys to really embody and really think about and really put at the core of your existence. That step number one to accomplishing whatever it is that you want to do is actually getting started. And I understand, I know the thing that holds you back. I know the thing that is absolutely paralyzing for people is you don't think that you have what it takes to go out and be good. And rather than face that difficult, brutal process of growing and getting better, and quite frankly, facing your inadequacies, it's easier just to sit back. But as John Wooden said, never let what you cannot do interfere with what you can. There is something right now that you're capable of. There is an innate skill inside of you that's your spark. It's that starting point. It's that thing that while you may not be the best in the world at it, it's a flame that you can fan. It's something that you can breathe life into and really begin to get good. But first you have to understand the very nature of progress. And that's as Stephen Covey said. You're not the product of your circumstances, but rather a product of your decisions. And it's those decisions that are going to allow you to build that skill set. So don't worry about where you started. Don't worry about what you already have. Remember, it's the decisions that you make. It's going down that road. It is the decision to get started. It's the decision to face possible failure. It's the decision to get up once you failed. And it's the decision of what to learn when you fail. Do you learn that you're not good enough? Do you learn that you never should have tried? Or do you learn a lesson from the failure and get up and brush yourself off and remember that at the end of the day, you're going to go as far as you're willing to fight for, and that's it. And if you're willing to fight to go all the way, then you will go that far. You will set a new bar. You will define for people what is possible. You become that beacon of hope. You become that thing that other people look to as the standard. But at the end of the day, it started with you getting started. It started with you showing up. It started with you pushing and trying. So get out there. Don't worry about what you have and what you are. Focus on who you want to become and the price you're willing to pay to get there.
As Nelson Mandela said, education is the most powerful weapon you can use to change the world. Wherever you are right now listening to this, I want you to burn that into your mind. The most powerful weapon that you're going to have at your disposal isn't a gun, it isn't a sword, it isn't a bomb. The most powerful weapon you will ever have at your disposal, if you really want to make change, is knowledge. It doesn't mean going to school. It can be books, it can be a mentor, it can be somebody else's failure, it can be your own failure. But whatever it is, to always be learning, to be learning something today, knowing that that's an investment. And as Robert Louis Stevenson said, don't judge each day by the harvest you reap, but rather by the seeds you plant. And that's what knowledge is. That's what the learning process is you're learning something today that you may not even understand how it's going to be valuable. But one day,
that piece of knowledge is going to come to your aid one day. That thing that you learned is going to be something that you're going to lean on one day. That thing that you've worked your ass off to understand better than anybody else in the world, it's going to help you change the world. But you have to be doing it now. You have to be learning with an obsession. You have to understand that ideas in equal ideas out, and that you have to chase that knowledge down, that it is a relentless pursuit, and that like you would build an armada, like you would create a stockpile of weapons, you must create a stockpile of knowledge. You must learn and learn and learn, and you must hold yourself accountable every day to planting those seeds, to getting better, to learning more, to understanding things more broadly. When you do that, there will be nothing that won't be unlocked to you. That's what I want you guys to understand. It doesn't matter where you are now. It doesn't matter where you started, your circumstances, the money, the people that you know. None of it matters. What matters is how much you're willing to learn. How good are you willing to get? How much knowledge are you willing to soak in? Because that will become your weapon. That will be how you rise up, and that will be the thing that will protect you when you need it most.
For you.
So if you want to do something incredible tomorrow, learn today.